Well, hey everyone, what is up? It is Katie Ersta of the Make Chic Happen podcast. And this week, I am so excited because today, October 21st, at the time this airs, we are actually at our free business summit. It's our small business summit, totally free, a virtual event, but we're going to be sharing it live, interacting with a few other of the presenters about how to really start a small business and scale a small business. I guess I should backtrack for a second and tell how this idea actually came to be. So, I would say it was about 2 months ago that I was at a deck hockey tournament and I overheard one of the women who was standing in our circle. We were kind of having one of those conversations, where everybody's kind of talking at once. And the one woman reached over to the other woman and she said, you just don't understand. I literally have no other option. There is no other plan. There is nothing I can do. I am stuck. And I understood what she was referring to. She was talking about a position that she was in, a job that she was in, and feeling this utter need to not leave that position because she had established herself there. She had spent quite a few years building her business or building her education, her business, her everything in this one place. And I realized right now, a lot of people are being forced to make decisions for the long haul that they're really uncomfortable with. And I remember sitting there thinking like there is a way. Very clearly I felt in my gut there is a way, there is an out, there is a plan B, there is another option, and not knowing exactly how to share that. And it wasn't just that conversation. It was conversations with friends in different businesses. It was friends across the country. It was people who really were feeling stuck and forced to make decisions that they weren't comfortable with. And I realized in that moment, I have a lot of experience with opening small businesses. I've now opened three small businesses. I've launched a journal and I've launched a podcast with Melanie, of course. And I have also launched a planner, and all of them, not without fail, but all of them have been pretty successful. And I started to wonder if maybe it was that fear of I don't know what to do that was holding a lot of people back from taking a chance on a business idea or thought that they have had, and they just didn't go for it. And so we created this small business summit, which is happening today. The show notes will have more information about it as well. But basically, this whole event, the components that we're going to be talking about within the free business summit are business planning and strategy. We're going to talk about legal considerations. We're going to talk about financial considerations. We're going to be talking about how to actually get started with affiliate marketing as a business owner and how that could be a game changer for you. We're going to talk about social media marketing. We're going to talk about time management. We're going to talk about brick and mortar considerations. Actually, the woman who's speaking on that, she's a good friend, Nicole. She owns the Emma and Jane shop in Sarville, Pennsylvania. And what's really cool is that she opened a brick and mortar business in the middle of a pandemic with incredible success. And I absolutely love her story and love that she is just one of those people who just went for it. But all of our speakers at the event are key players in their field, and I respect every single one of them. And I know that the people who are there today are going to walk away just empowered and excited, and with a PDF with so much just clarification on how to build a business. I'm so excited for them. And it's just something that we've been working on behind the scenes. And it's just a cool little gift we get to pay forward. We get to involve other business owners. We get to highlight other business owners. And most importantly, we get to help people like you really take the reins on their life and start the business, start the idea, implement, take action. And I'm so excited for it. But today, I'm going to answer a question that we get in our DMs quite often about the other part of our business that we don't talk about that often, but I think we're getting ready to share it a little bit more. And that is Chic Way Media. Melanie and I own Chic Influencer, the Make Chic Happen podcast, and we also own a company called Chic Way Media that is designed to help more owners, business owners, small business owners understand the importance of social media, but we help them manage it. We help them actually scale their business, see more sales, create more revenue, get more people on their email list, get more people into their shops. We do this through managing social media accounts and helping our clients really understand the importance of what social media can do. And most of the clients we work with really love their business so much, but they just don't have time to really focus on social media. It's just not in their wheelhouse. It's just not their primary focus. And we knew that creating a business like Chic Way Media, we could serve more people. We could help more people with something that we were gifted at, which was, of course, starting and scaling businesses using the platforms, using specifically Instagram, Facebook, and of course, we're scaling beyond that. But we understood that a lot of people didn't have that understanding that Melanie and I did. So in starting Chic Way Media, we really wanted to compile a list to consider, why would someone need a social media manager? And maybe right now, even as you're listening to this account, you have a small business or you're considering, or maybe you're at the event or you are listening to the playback of the event and you're really asking yourself, do I need a social media manager? Do I actually need support with my social media? Or can I figure this out on my own? Can I actually do this myself? And I want you to know that I do think, yeah, sure, you can absolutely manage your social media. You can learn it, you can figure it out, you can put the time and emphasis into scaling your business using social media. But my question is that the best use of your time and your talents? Is it the best use of your time to be figuring out social? Is it the best use of your time to be figuring out what hashtags are effective? Is it the best use of your time to be figuring out how to make your grid look? Is it the best use of your time to really be focused on your social media? Or is your best use of time in the actual business, the day to day of what you do? So that when you think about, do I need a media manager? You're asking yourself, okay, does it make sense for me to actually put the time into it? Or does it make sense for me to delegate it out? And so I'm going to ask you a few key questions today to see if it's the right fit for you. And not even if you go with Chic Way Media. Of course, we would love to help you scale your business on social media. We love it. That's what we specialize in. That's what our girls are trained to do. And they're kind of nailing. But I also just want you to ask yourself that question, because it's an investment. And I want you, business owner to business owner, to make a wise investment in your business. And social media management might not be the right decision. So, we're going to ask a couple of key questions for you to consider when it comes to considering hiring a social media manager. So, the first question that I want to ask you is, number one, do you have a clear understanding of your biggest struggles and pain points of your clients in order to scale? So, here at Chic Way Media, one of the first things that we do before we actually start working with any client is we have a very thorough and in-depth intake form. And in that intake form, part of that process and the way that we create the questions is to help our clients clarify their own struggles and their own pain points that actually might be holding them back. So often in our own businesses, we're in the thick of scaling, we're in the thick of growing, we are just doing our own thing, that we surface level what our struggles are. We kind of say, yeah, I just don't have time to create social media. And then when it comes to our clients, we're like, yeah, my clients just need readjusted or realigned if we're a chiropractor. And a lot of times those surface level answers, There's so much more to it that we never really think about. And so when Melanie and I created Chic Way Media, we created a very thorough, in-depth intake form that allows our clients to consider, all right, what are my biggest actual struggles when it comes to social media? Do I even want to do social media? And if I'm not doing social media, is there a reason that I've been reluctant to do it? And what's that narrative actually look like? Likewise, when it comes to clients, we often ask our clients to pinpoint specifics of their current clients' concerns or clients' problems. And so we ask them specific questions about what those problems might be in order to help them really clarify it. And that in turn helps us clarify the messaging that we're putting in social media. I remember on one particular occasion, we were working with a chiropractor. He's incredible. He's actually in the Pittsburgh area. Finn Chiropractic is the name of his practice. And when we were working with Dr. Finn, one of the first things he talked about is just loving what he does. And what separates him from other people is he does it right. And he doesn't do all the bells and whistles. And we talked a lot about holistic approach and all of these other things. And he said, I just really love what I do. I love that when people leave, they're taken care of. I love that when my clients come to me, I don't try to sell them more. I don't try to do a little bit extra. I just do what is right by the client. And I very simply said, okay, so very much your brand messaging is chiropractic done right. And so over the past year and a half, we've really watched Finn Chiropractic grow both of his practices with the simplicity of his messaging. All right, so let's talk about number 2. Let's ask this question. Do you currently establish a marketing calendar where you are working towards your specific goals? All right. If I tricked you up on this question, I want you to think about your marketing calendar. Number one, do you have one? And number 2, do you know exactly what you are working towards every single month? So here, what we do, and just to kind of consider this, if you don't have a marketing calendar, I really want you to think about how your business could look if you did use one. The one thing we talk about, and every manager works with a specific client. So when you come into Chic Way Media, you're working with a specialist who knows your business. They know what your goals are, and they want to make sure they're creating content that aligns to those goals. So one thing that we do is we ask our clients, well, what's your goal? Like, what do you want to see more of? Do you want to see more emails? Do you want to see more clients in the door? Do you want to book more parties? Do you want to actually increase your revenue? Do you want to increase the sales of what you're doing through your website? We ask them those specific goals and to be as specific as possible. And then what we do is once we have those goals that their client has by the end of the month, is we work backwards into the goals. Another example for you. We noticed that, for example, that one of our clients wanted to book more people into their business. This is another chiropractor, and they wanted to bring more people into their business. And we asked them, like, do you know exactly who your client is? Do you know exactly what the goal is? Like how many people you want to bring in? And as we were talking about it, he kind of gave a little bit of information about what it was, but we also did some digging, right? So we went into his social media account and we looked for what the needs were, the pain points of his client were that he maybe wasn't, not that he didn't know, but that he wasn't thinking about up front. And we realized, wow, there are a lot of people that mention that they struggle because they sit in a chair all day. And maybe you're sitting there going, yep, that's me, Katie. Or you're sitting cross-legged right now and you realize like you're actually a little out of alignment. So it's kind of a pitch to go see a chiropractor too. But we also noticed that their clients and their community were talking about chairs. And so what we did was we said, well, one way we can get more people into the door is to create content they're actually looking for. They want to know about posture. They want to know about best chairs. They want to know about how to actually adjust, what an adjustment looks like. if you have bad posture, if you aren't sitting properly, how many hours it's appropriate to sit in a chair, how to make sure that you're getting up and moving. So we were really adding value and we're creating different pieces of content that were aligned to what the goal was that this doctor, the specific chiropractor, was working towards. And in our marketing calendar, that type of content was directly connected back to the goal, which also brings me to number three, and it connects really, really well with number three. And that is that I want you to ask yourself, do you create content that actually cultivates engagement, it adds value, and it establishes yourself as a expert in the industry? No matter whatever your industry is, whether you own a brick and mortar, you own a chiropractic care, you are a functional health doctor, you know that you need to make sure that you're establishing yourself as an expert in the industry. And one of the services that we offer is we make sure that we are engaging with potential clients. We make sure that we are on the lookout for content that's actually doing well and is being well received so that we can create more of that type of content. And we do this a lot through simply asking more questions. We do this through the polls that we create for our clients. We do this through the stories that we create from our clients. And so when we're creating content, we're not just doing it with the, all right, I hope this reel does well. I hope maybe it goes viral, or I hope that it's engaging. We're actually aligning it back to what I said in number two, which is we have those goals. We know what we're working towards. And we also know that if we aren't creating cultivating content that cultivates engagement, our audience isn't going to be receptive to it. And we want to create that comeback kind of audience. We want to make sure that they're being seen and heard. So we knew that if we were creating that content, that people wanted more tips and recipes. They wanted to hear about more anti-inflammatory tips. We know that in those cases, if we create that content, if we ask the questions, if we cultivate that engagement, those people are going to come back and they're more likely going to purchase from our clients. All right, so let's talk about number four. Do you highlight features of your business that you want to have on display? We often think of our social media as sort of the window display of our business. We really look at our Instagram grid or our Facebook platform as the highlights, the things that are really great that you want to showcase, that you want to feature, because you're giving people often on your social media platform sort of a first glimpse into what you do and how you serve. And one thing you want to start asking yourself is, does my audience know what I do well and how I can serve them? So, what we do and what has worked for us, and if you are in social media, if you are creating your own social media, I want you to think about when you get feedback from people, when you get engagement from people, what do you do with it? Right. So if people respond to your polls, if people respond to your inquiries, if people respond to the questions that you have, or if they're dropping hearts and emojis, if they want more information, do you reciprocate it? So I know for us, we have become really good about using the comments to create more content for future posts. So if we notice people are commenting about, oh, the chairs that are hurting their backs, or we notice that they're asking about the right technique for the spin class, or they're asking about the best supplements for an anti-inflammatory diet, we're taking that and we're saying, how can I actually create more content from what my audience is already telling me they want? And so I want you to think about that as well. When you are posting, are you highlighting the features of your business that you want on display? And the way that you figure out what that is by observing exactly what your audience is telling you they want. And of course, we use analytics. We know our insights. We know what our clients, or what's doing well, what isn't, and what they want more of. And we create content and we make suggestions based on those analytics as well. So, can you imagine the freedom and flexibility of somebody actually having a bird's eye perspective of your business, and in a very just a very hands almost like a objective kind of way, where they're like, this is what's working, this isn't, this is what you need to do. I noticed that you aren't doing this. These are some things that you could do. And to have that person who kind of has a gauge into your business, because sometimes, let's face it, we're so in our own business, we so know ourselves and we so know what we're doing that we don't really look at it from that perspective. And I love that that's what we train our social media managers and specialists to be able to do. And one more thing, do you have a clear brand message that resonates with your audience? So, when you think about what your audience or your potential consumer comes to you for, do you know exactly why they would come to you? Couple things with this. When you're clarifying your brand message, you need to know exactly what problem you resolve for your audience. And if you don't know what that problem is that you resolve for your audience, we often need to make some tweaks in the current messaging to clarify what those problems might be. So, for example, do you have a form that your client might fill out so that they can give you more information about their current problems? Do you have an intake form? Do you guide them into an email sequence where they can get more information, but more importantly, give you more information? Using those analytics are going to help you make adjustments. And I remember, just back to that bird's eye sort of perspective and brand messaging that we were talking about. We have one client who owns a gym, and she was doing a pretty darn good job. She had a lot of people who were currently her clients who were coming to her spin classes. Absolutely loved her. You could tell that she was passionate about what she did as an instructor, but you could also tell that she didn't have time to put into social media. And I remember on one occasion, I was actually looking at her social, and this was right before we did our initial intake with her. And I noticed she didn't have her location. I literally had no idea where her gym was, aside from one post when I scrolled down and noticed that it was actually local to where I was. And it was something so small, but very likely was a blind spot that prevented people from actually reaching out or connecting with her. Simple tweak to make into her messaging, simple tweak to make into her profile, simple tweak that we can make. But my point is having someone that's super, super observant of your business and can see it from an outside perspective instead of being in the thick of it helps you really get clarity on your messaging. It helps you get clarity on who you're reaching. It helps you get clarity on the pain points that you resolve for people. So I really want you today, if anything, ask yourself some deeper questions about your own social media and these key factors that might be preventing you from growth. So let's talk about what they are again. Number one, are you clear on the biggest struggles of your clients? Do you know your own struggles as well as their pain points? Do you know your own struggles when it comes to social? But do you know your clients' pain points, and are you addressing those on social? Let's talk about number two. That is to establish a marketing calendar that is working toward your goal. And that's a whole different podcast in and of itself, where we could talk about goal setting and making sure that we're working towards those goals. But we want to make sure that we're being clear, crystal clear about what our goals are, and that we have a marketing calendar that aligns to it. Number three, are we creating content that cultivates engagement? It adds value and it establishes us as an expert in the industry. Number four, do you highlight the features of your business that you want on display? So, making sure that you're highlighting the actual best parts of your business so you clearly are going to stand out above the crowd. And number five, are you clear on what your brand messaging is so it resonates with an audience that actually wants to hear your message? And then again, making sure that you are clear on who you serve. Simple tips like making sure your people know that you're open for business, that your location is clear if you're a brick and mortar, and how to connect with you if you are not a brick and mortar. All right. So, 5 tips today to ask yourself, do I need a social media manager? Do I need someone to support me in my business? And if you aren't in the position of asking yourself if you need a social media manager, these are just 5 questions to make sure that you're clarifying your messaging on social media and standing out above the crowd. All right, you guys, short episode this week. If you are part of the free small business summit and you are loving it, make sure you're tagging us at Chic Influencer. And if this information helped you, if you started to really ask yourself, wow, like I need a little bit of love and support, I really encourage you to reach out to us at Chic Way Media to see if management is something that you need in your business to help you get back to the work that you love and let us handle the rest. All right, you guys, thank you so much for this week's episode of the Make Chic Happen podcast. We'll see you next time.